Welcome to Film Bluffs, a place for free-range, non-GMO, dog water opinions. So come on in, take a seat, and let's make fun of the kid with no internet.
Welcome back, evangelicals, to another freaky fun episode of Film Bluffs. We're so excited because this is a very special week because this week we have Marshall and Trace joining us for an episode. Let's give them a round of applause. Huh?
Let's go. I'm happy
here
to be
every
here.
week, but I am so excited to be brought back again this week. We're
all on a trial period.
The test audiences really were, in love with me, and I guess Trace too, less so than me because I'm the more popular one. That's my shtick.
We're all in our 90-day employment period. We could be fired at any time.
You can be fired from any time in my state. Fun fact.
I think.
But
yeah,
thanks for coming back. We watched The Fall Guy with Ryan Gosling, Emily Blunt, had Hannah Waddingham, Winston Duke, among other people, and I had a great time watching this. This movie was just. I'm gonna say it. It was a lot of fun, and it was just.
At least it was a lot of.
It was an entertaining movie to watch for me. I liked all the stunts, the writing, the plot wasn't super intricate, it wasn't anything that's crazy, but it was a good plot for what we're watching. And Ryan Gosling just looks fantastic in this movie. Anybody else? Some thoughts on the movie?
I agree with you on some points, but I disagree on some other points.
What points?
I don't know what it is, but I think it might just be Ryan Gosling with frosted tips or something, but I thought he looked like dope this movie.
Him with frosted tips isn't great. He doesn't pull it off quite as well as Jobe does.
No. But minus the hair, I think he looks fine in the movie. He seems to be, he does that charming action star thing as alongside Aaron Taylor Johnson, who in this movie is just the worst person ever. You're like,
an actor.
Ryan Gosling's super cool. Plus, I love the joke where it's just it's a movie about a stunt guy who, does all the stunts, but in the real world, he doesn't do the stunts. So there's another stunt guy doing those stunts.
Yeah, he had two. I watched all the end credits, and he had pictures with him and two or three other stuntmen next to him wearing the exact same outfit.
It was dude, the stuntception going on is crazy. But
I wonder if they have stuntmen.
No, it's a good movie. I love it. There's just so many fun sequences in it that make me just go, "Hey, that's fun. That's so entertaining."
Marshall, it's funny to hear you compliment this movie for being about stunts when you yourself hated a certain movie that was about stunts just a couple weeks ago.
It's really weird. It's interesting.
Can I rebuttal?
No.
Okay.
You can. Why don't you go ahead and give us that plot synopsis, though?
Yeah. So the movie starts off and narrated by Ryan Gosling, but in this world, in the movie, it's fake. It's Colt Seavers, and he's about to do this stunt because he's a stunt man, and his action star that he does all the doubles for is Tom Ryder, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. Colt Seavers goes to do a stunt again because he didn't look right, or is too much of his face, not the action star face, whatever. He ends up breaking his back and having 18 months where he's just I'm so depressed. Also, I forgot to mention he's in love with this camera woman and she's in love with him too. It's a whole thing. But during this 18-month period, he just completely ghosts everyone. He just works as a valet at a restaurant. And eventually, in his little depression episode, Tom's producer, Gail, played by Hannah Waddingham. It's such a weird name to say. Anyways,
it is a bit.
She calls him up and is yo, Jody, your old flame wants you to do all the stunts for this movie. We need your help because our stunt guy died or whatever. He's gone. And Colt's I'll pull up because Jody wants me. So Colt pulls up, starts to do the first stunt. And then Jody's why the fuck is he here? I never would have signed off on this. And Gail's yeah, listen, that was an excuse to get you here. We can't find Aaron Taylor Johnson, Tom, but he's been having a run-in with some really bad people. So I need you to go figure it out because you know him because you worked at a stunt up for so long. So Colt goes to do that. Yada, 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 yada. He tries to track him down, goes and finds his girlfriend and then a dog and a nightclub. And there's a whole thing. Eventually, he finds Tom's hotel room where there's a dead body and he fucks off, right? While the movie that they're all trying to do is being produced, Colt and Jody begin to rekindle their love, right? And then Gail's hey, Colt, get the fuck out of here, right? But he's no, I'm going to track down Tom for the good of the movie. And then he finds a phone which has incriminating evidence on it. after a big fight sequence with a truck and dog that speaks French, they unlock the phone and discover a video of Tom, who ended up killing the previous stunt double, and that's the incriminating evidence. Eventually, Colt is captured. He has a huge escape scene where he ends up like blowing up a ship, blah, 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 blah. And then everyone thinks Colt is dead. But alas, he's not dead. Him and Jody hatch a plot to get Tom to confess during the production of the movie. And so they do that fight scene. It's all good. The trailer premieres at Comic-Con. Jason Momoa is there. It's a hit. That's pretty much it. Everything else that's in between is big action fight scenes followed up with big stunts, big explosions, montages of romance. Anything else that I missed that you guys really want to point out before we get into the gritty? The dog is great. I love the dog because the dog
is my favorite part.
It's a cute dog. Let it be known. Very cute dog.
He's adorable.
The dog only responds to commands in French, like allons-y or attaque balls, which was fantastic. And no, the whole sequence with the dog, and he's just like, go help, grab the water bottle, do this, come with me around. Great time with the dog.
Yeah.
Jobe, you didn't like some parts of the movie. I know Trace loved this whole movie. He's a huge fan. He was there for the premiere. He's actually one of the stunt guys. Trace, do a backflip.
I'm not going to right now, only because I don't know if the audience can tell, but I'm not wearing socks. So
you need the grip with the socks.
Just I don't want to show my feet.
So just make sure your feet are always just out of frame as you do the flip.
It's like right here.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Jobe, you didn't like parts of this movie. Explain why.
So I'm sure the dog
please?
was great, but because of my current living situation, I live with a dog who fucking hates it when other dogs are on the TV. So anytime that dog was on screen, I had to deal with another dog losing his fucking mind.
Wait, which dog was it? Was it Boomer?
Boomer hates it.
See, CJ doesn't believe anything he sees on the TV. Boomer believes everything.
CJ knows that it's an actor playing a dog.
And it's something he's been striving for, but he just can't seem to break into the industry.
Okay, so you didn't like the dog because of your living situation. Anything else?
I thought
there was also other dogs at the park, and wasn't super thrilled about
Let
that.
Joe finish his thought. He's really trying to figure it out.
I have it figured out. I'm just trying to say it
right
without being interrupted. I'll forgive you. Also, I had a quick joke. I think this movie lost Trace in the very beginning when it showed a clip from Fast and Furious.
That's not why it lost me in the beginning, but they did bring up Fast and Furious. And I'm like, ugh, that shit. Who cares?
In terms of car driving, that's one of the most the biggest movie, and hey, there's a lot of car stunts in this.
I think that one was from 5. I want to
disagree.
I think so too. So,
Baby
Joe,
Driver,
tell me
Cars.
your fucking query disagreement with this movie.
Okay, so Marshall's allowed to say query. I'm not allowed to say anything.
Shut up.
He just wants to go mining for stone.
Anyway, that's stupid. That's
really dumb.
I thought the beginning was a bit messy, or at least for a while there, I felt like I didn't know what kind of movie this wanted to be. Did it want to be this meta narrative about the relationship between Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling, or did it want to be this over-the-top wacky action movie? And I feel like in the beginning, it had a foot in both camps, and it didn't necessarily strike a good balance. But I feel like by the time the second half rolled around, they're like, fuck it, we're just a silly action movie. And then I was much more into it.
Yeah, no, I could see that. There's definitely at the beginning a little okay, what are we getting into? Kind of.
It just felt slow.
But as it started ramping up, and for me it was hey, they need to have this relationship with Jody and Colt so that the rest of the plot could happen, because of there's first you have the instance where he breaks his back and then he's out, and the only way to get him there would be for the love interest, and to see how he's really still pining over Emily Blunt. But I do have to say, Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling, their chemistry in this is quite fun.
Pretty good. It's
not simple, just oh, I'm super in love with you. Oh, lovey-dovey. They're just hanging out. They seem really good friends that also love each other. Is that me, or am I wrong?
Didn't really buy it that much, and I can't really even tell you why. I think it might just be because I assume British people can't feel love.
No, that's fair. Because of the whole tea thing,
Yeah, I shouldn't talk. I just made myself a cuppa.
A cuppa. Trace, You weren't too much of a fan of this, I'm guessing.
No, I liked it. It just the beginning of it was just slow for me. Like getting through the first 40 minutes, I was just kind of like
40 minutes, like, what do you, I don't know what time frame it was, but like, is it after like the first fight scene with the girlfriend in the hotel, or
no, that's
before
a little bit further on. It was like basically when he got to the new set.
Okay.
Like what, like after he takes the plane ride and goes there, that's when things start kind of kicking off for me a little bit. And I was kind of like, okay, now things feel like a little less like they just felt kind of clunky, and they were just kind of going through motions. And then when he started investigating Aaron Taylor Joy Anya, that's when it did start to like kind of pick up. And I was like, all right, it feels like Ryan Gosling's actually having fun with this now. And it translates through the screen to me, because a lot of people have told me I look a lot like Ryan Gosling.
I don't think a single person has ever
it's true.
said that.
No, I've had at least one person.
If I had to pick an actor
I
that
don't see
looks
it.
like Trace, I would go with Dane DeHaan.
That's good. I'm not saying that I agree with any of these statements. I'm just saying I have also gotten Ryan Reynolds before.
I would say it's the guy who plays the animated Sid from Toy Story.
See, I was
John
gonna go with
Leguizamo?
Woody from Toy Story
Wait, I'm thinking of a different Sid.
because of my like long elongated head.
I think okay, when they make the Film Bluffs movie,
When they make the Film Bluffs movies a crazy poll, given that we
That's
get like
good.
10 viewers.
Also, what would the movie be about?
Film Bluffs.
So-
It's just us doing this.
yeah, it's just another episode of the podcast, but with A-list actors.
Good. Everybody loves webcam movies.
They're
I
getting
think,
George
no,
Lopez. to
actually,
play
what
me.
the movie is Marshall gets kidnapped, and they're trying to replace him in our show with like a clone. But the problem is, all the clones, they don't have the right sauce that Marshall brings to the table. So they kidnap Marshall to impart his sauce onto the clone.
And we pick up on it almost immediately.
No,
We only
no.
go through like
He's
3
in
episodes.
the facility. We are trying to save him. We're trying to find and save him, while also still putting out weekly episodes. So we also have to learn how to edit the show.
We just make clones of ourselves. That way it looks
So-
uniform.
Back on track. Like I said, I really enjoy just the movie and how like kind of dumb it is sometimes, right? Like
A little bit.
Ryan Gosling goes to Aaron Taylor Johnson's apartment and he's like, they're ready, to attack this lady. He pulls out and it's like a gun with blanks, or they have the rubber machete because it's a prop, obviously. Why would he have a
tomahawk.
real tomahawk? My bad. It's just silly things like that that just make me giggle inside,
That lost a point.
Whenever
The inside.
Ryan Gosling like has this mouthpiece ready to go at all
Yeah,
times.
that's good.
The very end, when Aaron Taylor Johnson, he said he's got the gun trained on Ryan Gosling, and Hattie Waddingham's like, just shoot him, he's just a stupid stuntman. He's like, but he's the best stuntman I've ever had.
I know,
I'm
I was like,
that's good.
My guy.
And then
You
Ryan
have
Gosling
one
hits him
shred of
with the
decency.
double middle finger as he falls
That's
back. Now the big like action pieces, I think they did really well on them. Obviously, the car flip at the beginning was good. There was the one they lit him on fire a few times as like a prank, not like prank, like she's
Prank.
being evil, but like it was kind of fun to see.
I think in that scene, though, for me, I was just like, God, he's just coming off of a broken spine, and you're
Yeah.
just launching him back first into the rock.
There was a couple of times where I thought they were gonna do all right, one last thing, and then he just like actually gets a real bad injury again, and then she's like, oh no.
I think that is possibly a missed opportunity. Is they never bring the broken back up again?
Well, they
Yeah,
bring it at the end where they say like it was Aaron Taylor Johnson's fault because he like turned up the
Well, no, but
mechanism.
like
But like
he's
the fact that he has a broken back.
yeah, because like
Yeah,
he's
that-
doing all these incredible things, but like all doing it on a broken back, and the only real thing they have on it is that he's developed a slight fear of doing stunts.
I guess I don't know, man. But I
Whatever,
did like
the movie
the
is
first
perfect.
couple
Fuck you.
scenes that were like he's trying to get a coffee and then he's trying to make a coffee and the assistant
constant-
can't get him
yeah.
one and he's trying to make one in Gail's RV and she doesn't. Her coffee machine's broken. He goes to the loft and tries to make one but gets attacked, so he spills it everywhere. It's just like, oh, that's really
Just get
good,
the man a
actually.
coffee.
He's just
He's so jet lagged.
There's just like the shot of him trying to get into the trailer, and he's like, he's like, oh, coffee, and you're like, yeah, and then he's just
Finally.
like, no. Oh,
Like, I
fuck, we forgot to
back
mention the
to-
best part of the dog, where he tells the dog in French, so the dog knows this command. guard the cockatoo.
Oh yeah.
So like that's already been great. They've worked on guard cockatoo with this dog before, which is a crazy pull for any.
Which I didn't fully
dog.
understand that part because like nothing really happens to the cockatoo other
It's just
than
their dog. He's
like
chilling.
Aaron Taylor Johnson like it has a note that says sell cockatoo, but that's about it. So just like
By koala.
it's like why is he guarding the
Boomer
bird?
also hates cockatoos.
He hates
there-
any animal on screen.
There's that one where
True.
the bad guy and Ryan Gosling fall off the like stairs, and bad guy hits the ground, and
But yeah.
Ryan
Lands on the
Gosling hits the
couch.
comfy couch. Like, no, that's really
Because he
funny.
knows where he knows his strikes. He's like, all right, I'm moving this here. Yeah, I'm gonna fall at that point right there. Perfect execution.
The one I really liked was the two big fights, the fight scene in the helicopter and like in the street with the car.
The bucket trailer.
Yeah. The like where they're going in this like in the street, not like the car rolling, but like the two cars and the dogs there, and it's,
Jobe's being
those
sexual.
two were really fun for me. But I really liked the helicopter one a lot more. It was just the way it was like moving around and constantly deflecting the gun go off, and then he's like, "Nah, the gun's empty, dog." Great.
Click click. Ha ha ha.
Like the scene in the club right after he gets his Molly
Yeah.
or some shit, and then starts breaking bottles.
Now,
Well, you do see like he does hit people with a bottle, but it doesn't break all the time.
yeah,
Like there's
Okay.
sometimes.
some of them
Huh?
are made of sugar glass.
Well, no, because like I
Weird
think that was like
point to get Pacific on.
they were trying to say it's like, hey, even though like in movies when you hit something on the head with a bottle, it shatters like 100% of the time.
Always.
Not always, because he was hitting people and you would hear a thunk, 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 and then eventually it would shatter, but it wouldn't be a shatter instantly for every single one of the hits. Which I thought, I was like, hey, that's kind of seems like, if you ever had like one of them Crown Royal bottles, them shits don't
Oh
break.
yeah. I'm ashamed to
Just-
say I threw one out of a moving car when I was young. Before I knew what littering was at the ripe age of like 16, and somebody said this won't break, and I went bullshit, threw it out the window going like 90, and we watched it, and it just went ding 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 ding, and then it landed and just went, and I was like, oh okay, so like after 40 hits on the ground, then it will.
Trace has confessed to like multiple crimes.
No, but it's okay because I wasn't driving, so I didn't have any moving violation, and
But you did throw
glass is from the earth, so I was returning it to its natural state.
I think that defense only works if you're at the beach.
No, because there was sand on the ground.
Here's my thing. Sometimes though, when the characters have to play like, oh, they're high, I feel like it goes too far to make them do wacky, weird shit.
Yeah,
What do you feel about Ryan Gosling? Because I feel like he was trying to keep his head on straight, and he did do some weird stuff that you might do when you're high, but not like he wasn't like over the top with it. Or I mean, sometimes he was, but I feel like it's mainly for the movie point of that. But it's not like 100% of the time. He was still able to like function. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, for the record, I've never done hard drugs. Just so everybody's
heard
clear on that.
Multiple
There's a
conflicting stories
weird-
from you on this.
little weird hair there. So I don't really know how the guy's supposed to act.
Yeah, I mean, without knowing,
Maybe
what
Ryan
he
Gosling
is
got high during that
on,
scene.
I doubt it.
Yeah, they don't
They
really give
go
us
hot
They don't.
anymore.
They give very nondescript. He was roofied, but like they don't tell us what it is, which I think is fine because then they would have to go and do the research of like, oh, how would he act? Hey, Ryan, you're gonna have to take
Then
this
they'd
tab
have
of
to do some
LSD.
work on this movie, and nobody wants
Yeah,
that.
this stupid piece of shit.
There were several instances I thought that was like good foreshadowing. I can only think of one right now. I think
Classic.
There was the blanks in the gun,
Blanks in the Gun was one.
and I
there
won't
was,
go.
it was a literal Chekhov's gun.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, he tried to fire it, but like, hey, whatever. There was the one where he's talking about he could do the jump with the car or the boat.
yes, I did like that.
he
That
could
was
do it
fun.
blindfolded, and then he sees it. He goes,
Hands tied behind his back is what he said.
hands
I
tied.
do love his dumb grin.
Yeah,
He's like,
He almost looks at the camera and he's like,
which like it gives a fun little air of like, did he say that just to be a cocky little asshole and now he's getting to prove it, or was he actually like, oh, now I can, I can do this. I've done this before.
but I do like after him and Emily Blunt, like she figures out he's in the suit. She's like, I knew it was alive. Your whole thing. He's like, yeah, I knew I could do it. I knew I could do it. There was like something else. It'll come back to me. You two vamp or talk
Yeah, I
about the
bet.
movie or something.
I will say, yeah, go ahead, Job.
"No, Trace, you
No,
go."
no,
'cause- Trace, we never
I
let
love-
The deep
love
fake,
you.
the deep fake thing where
Trace,
they
we
scan
never
his
let you
face.
talk
Oh, yeah.
during these.
Where they
Right.
scan his face and then they say, "Oh yeah, that's me. You know, they put his
How do you
face
say
on
get
the
down in
footage.
French? Aw.
It was the
Leg
yeah,
it
yeah.
down.
That was one that was also good.
You cannot have a bisque.
So
There was something else, but I can't think of it.
I didn't get to talk about why I liked the fight scene in the club,
you like
but
the
I
fight
thought
scene?
that
You
the
can.
directing and the editing on it was very. I thought the editing and the directing on it was very cool. It was, it was a little much with the effects that they were throwing on some of the hits.
the punch and like some sparks would fly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but beyond that, the way the camera moves through the fight, I thought was very neat, and they do a lot of that same stuff in the helicopter, but I think it just.
Mhm.
I liked the fight choreo better in the club.
Yeah, it's weird because like I don't know, I don't hate the sparks flying off, but it did seem like it made the visual very loud and like not focusing very much on the actual actors, but just the big flashes of
Yeah,
sparkly
I mean,
fireworks.
for me, I like fight scenes that are more in a closed space. Like big fight scenes can be really good if done correctly. I'm thinking like Helm's Deep. But if you think about Helm's Deep fight scenes, it's not like just there's a huge battle armies going bonk. They have smaller
blocking it from my
moments that you can
memory.
pick out, and having just a smaller area to begin with just makes everything that each actor does. You know, in the helicopter, there's only like 4 people there, so everything that each person does is very, it has to be precise and everyone's paying attention to everything. It's not kind of like getting lost in the middle of it. But that's why I like the helicopter one. The club fight scene's pretty good too. It's just kind of like Trey said, there's a lot going on, so it was a little like ooh to take in. But overall, it's still good. It's still a good fight. Yes, Joe.
Have you seen those leagues where they have like MMA fights, but they're in like a phone booth or a minivan?
Like I seen like the car belt like jujitsu where they're like both strapped in
Yeah.
a car and they're trying to fight each other. That's good too. Trace, you had your hand up.
Yeah, the lot going on in the club scene was more so of Jobe's point, and I would hate to take that away from him.
My bad.
Yeah,
Oh, you said the sparks and you said visually cluttered, so that's where I was going with that. I'm sorry.
dude, my
I
beard looks
appreciate
like
you taking that
shit.
funny. Yeah, you should probably get rid of it. I'm willing to forgive it because I did like the movie, but it was weird that like Colt Seavers is like really really good at fighting.
He's a stuntman. Why wouldn't
Yeah,
he be?
but that doesn't necessarily translate to hey like MMA fighter or black belt in jiu-jitsu or anything like that. Like in the club, he's like fighting off like 3 or 4 people at once.
Well, let's put it this
And
way.
that just feels a little bit much.
You're not an MMA fighter, but you have to pretend to be an MMA fighter for multiple years. You will be getting good at getting close to hitting somebody. So at that point, you could just make the reasonable jump to, instead of not hitting them, actually hitting them.
I
Yeah,
guess so.
I mean, even in like an actual
There's a little
street
suspension of
situation-
disbelief I think you have to do. You have to meet the
Well-
movie at its level, Trace.
Well, I think actually, if I could argue on that
Interesting.
point,
Interesting.
I feel like that's kind of like where the beginning kind of fails the movie is because
Yeah.
we're not sure what level the movie is operating on.
So
for
when
a
this
while
is the
there.
first fight scene that we have, I'm like, what the fuck's going on?
Yeah. So in that way, like by the end, we're sold. We know what level we're working on. So
Yeah.
when he's fighting off 2 people while hanging off the edge of a helicopter, we're like, this is a ridiculous.
Well, and he's
action movie.
really not even fighting off both of them at the same time. After that first club scene, he only really is actively fighting off one person at a time. In the helicopter, he's fighting off Aaron Johnson, but like Hannah Waddington is just like kind of throwing the gun around. He's just like, oh nope, and then
I'm
just
calling
like
her
fighting
Hannah
her.
Burger now.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
no, Trey
good.
makes a good point. They just have, like, especially in the loft, while there's multiple people there,
Yeah,
everyone's being, like, separated off. So he
Right.
fights one person at a time, which, in multiple fights, it's always the hard thing of, like, oh, here's multiple people fighting one guy. It's hard to just have them all bum rush because then you're like, what the hell? There's no way he'd win.
Right.
But if it's, like, sectioned off, kind of like how it was, it makes more sense,
Now, I will say him and Winston Duke,
too.
they both seem to be very avid movie fans, probably
was
because they're
really
stuntmen.
Which was really fun.
I do like the relationship with that. So I also did give it a little bit of leeway because I'm like, okay, they've clearly seen a lot of movies, and I'm sure, especially, it shows more with Winston Duke's character, but he really has wanted to try these fighting moves for a long time, and he's finally getting to.
Yeah, no.
So I gave it a little bit. I
great.
was like, all right, but they've seen it enough. They're actually putting it into some practice. Maybe these drug dealers have never seen a movie in their life.
I mean, if they're not really drug dealers, they're just like private security. Yeah, they're like
Well,
his.
the head guy was definitely a drug dealer, so I just kind of put them in with him.
I mean, maybe
They're guilty by
That's up to you, boss.
association.
What do we think of Ryan Gosling screaming
I'm the
for
law.
help, but only for him to like swallow the gasoline to spit into the bad guy's
It
face?
was really clever.
I thought
I
that was clever too. I was like, how's he gonna get out of this one? Is the dog gonna come in and then
I like
I
it,
knew
but
what he was doing
also
the time.
bro was absolutely soaked in gas. I don't know
He
how.
should have ignited.
Yeah, he should have.
100% should have caught on fire.
Which I think also would have been funny because it would have also been like a way for him to be like, oh, I can keep my cool while being
Yeah.
lit on fire. So
I've done
I
this
thought it was gonna
1,000
be something like
times.
that where he had like the clothes he has was like fire protection. If it was the same jacket that he had for the Miami Vice thing, like maybe that's like a fire retardant thing. But then he just kind of like ran away, hopped in the boat, and started steering backwards. And I'm like, okay, he's kind of badass about this. And then they're like, hey, he went the wrong way. And then he realizes he went the wrong way. And he's just like, ah, shit, my bad, guys.
Now, when he first shoots like the fire back at the guy, I kind of was like, all right, whatever. But when there's the big fire explosion when he fakes his death, there's enough there that he probably should have caught on fire before he hit the water. Now he was hitting the water, so we're all right. But it was a little weird that he never once ignited during that sequence.
I mean, I guess up to you, man. What do we feel about when
It's
they
just
had
how
the
physics
shots
work, but
of
okay.
them making Metal Storm, and then they interpose that with like how the movie would look, and then they cut in
Like
and out.
I like
the
that.
split one.
Yeah, where it's like, oh, this is how the stunt's going, and then or they would start in like, here's how the movie works, and then pause, and then this is how it actually looks while we're making it. I thought that's like a cool like kind of meta behind the scenes of like, hey, this is how like normal movie production kind of works. It looked kind of janky, but then we fix it all in post, which is like this episode or all our episodes. I just fix it in post.
There's a video game called Stuntman Ignition. Have either of you played it?
No,
Mm.
I only played Tetris.
That's 100% true.
It was a video game where basically you were a stunt driver for various movies.
Stunt
Oh, I have seen
driver.
that game actually.
It was great. And
I
then
have
like,
not. I'm
when you
lying.
beat, so you've
I'm sorry.
instead of engaging with me
So
on this
you have
conversation
lied
as
to
my
me
friend,
yet
you've plotted
again.
against me as my enemy.
You are now no longer with me. You are now my enemy.
Yeah.
Anyway, hey, quick editing note for Marshall. I'm gonna talk about the game for a while. If you just like want to cut me off at some point and then like add it,
Stuff right.
and we're doing our Capri Sun break or whatever, that could be
Or
funny.
like whatever, man.
Anyway, so you would drive through these levels trying to do all the stunts that you need to do in order to complete the movie. And then at the end, they would play the trailer for the movie and it would cut between pre-rendered cutscenes and like actual in-game footage.
I actually have
This is
seen
not.
that
Yeah,
now
this is
that
not
you
a bit.
say
Now that
it.
you're describing it, I do know what you're talking about. This is not a bit.
I'm so sorry.
Alert, this is not a bit. This is not a bit.
I just want you to know from me to you, this is not a bit. I think Marshall's still fucking with you personally,
No,
but
it wasn't a bit.
Don't know
Wasn't a bit.
believe anymore.
I actually think
Marshall,
I might
did you
have
like that the
played that.
movie was an obvious Dune ripoff?
Yeah, no, that was
100%.
funny.
I mean, the drug dealer's name is Dune.
No,
Yeah.
she's talking
It was
about the Metal
Dune's
Storm.
Dune.
No, I know, but it was just another like added to it
Yeah.
of like.
I
they're
also
doing
liked
this,
like
and then boom.
the sound coming.
It was, yeah, the classic. I love that the character's name, as far as I could tell in the movie, was just Space Cowboy.
Yeah.
I do love
They
how
don't
like
have
one of the things that was always funny to me when watching this is like, you obviously we know Aaron Taylor Johnson and Ryan Gosling, movie stars in
Yeah, they
real
love
life.
each other.
And in this, they're just like, that's just lame ass Colt Seavers. And Aaron Taylor Johnson's just so good at acting. Even though when they're watching him like do a monologue on his phone, he's like, he's such an asshole, but he's so good.
Yeah.
And then you like kind of watch him on the screen. And is it just me or did it just kind of seem a little weird? Like, I don't know if it was like intentionally supposed to be kind of bad, but like when he's giving that monologue kind of at the end as Space Cowboy, and I'm like,
Okay.
He sounded like he was trying to do a Matthew McConaughey
No, but
impression.
but my thing with that is, I know that I feel like it was just the direction he was given because of, again, it's like a Dune thing. Jason Momoa is in Dune, and it's that's funny. I did not like Jason Momoa's delivery as much at the end as I liked Aaron Johnson's. It was just like it felt weird. He felt like just a weird like Chad, just trying to be like, all right, I'm a space cowboy. You know what? They'll never extinguish the fire in your hearts.
Trace is just mad because he knows
I could've done
that
it better.
Jason Momoa would steal any part he goes for.
100%, yeah, and it's because I look exactly
he could
like
do an
Aaron Taylor
Taylor
Johnson.
Watson, but he can't do a Jason Momoa.
for me,
You didn't see
another
that
thing
coming?
that was really entertaining was when they're like, oh, we just have this one thing where you're in the car really quick and just be like, boom, and then knock this guy out. And he's like, but what if I do like a little quip? And she's just like, whatever,
so
fine.
good. That's so good. Yes, so
Perfect.
good. Perfect.
And he's just like, yeah, fuck you. I'm
I
gonna
do
do
love
this.
it.
and he doesn't
That's
even
how-
say the line he suggests.
Yeah, he's
That's
just
how
kind of
actors are.
you
You
know
just
that?
suggest
You would
things
know.
because you think
big
you're
Hollywood guy over here, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
He was on Grey's Anatomy as a main character. He was Sloane Gray,
Great.
Memorial
Actually,
Hospital.
Grey's not even in Grey's Anatomy anymore. I don't
No,
think.
he died years ago, or she did. I don't remember.
No, you're the hospital.
Speaking of die,
I
There
wish I
are-
would.
there are no artificial dyes in our nondescript juice pouches. I think
can see
it's time we took a Capri Sun break.
And welcome back from that Capri Sun break, everybody. We hope that you enjoyed whatever juice pouch concoction you decided to go with today. One thing that we talked really quick about that I need to talk about personally is the soundtrack for this movie. I feel like is fucking amazing. For you have
What song do you like, Trace?
Huh?
What
you
song?
know,
Like in this, or just in general?
How I Meant for Loving You by Kiss, or the one by, was it Youngblood at the end for the soundtrack? Whichever one's at the end. That Taylor Swift,
Yeah, I don't remember.
All Too Well.
What was the one that was playing when he jumped through the fire as a boatman?
I Was Made for Loving You by Youngblood.
So it was all just the same song, but different people.
Yeah. What did you feel? They had
Stuff-
a didn't
six
they have,
different
like,
covers.
They had no. There was that one band that you like, The Strokes, right? Wasn't that one in there? Or am I losing my mind? No, what was this one? There was a song that I thought.
There was a
Blake
song by The
Shelton.
Darkness in there.
Which one was that?
I believe in a thing called love.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, no, that was good.
I like
I
that,
like that
part.
song. I don't
I
remember what it's
think
called.
that's the closest this movie gets to being like actually cute with Goss Slinger and
Yeah.
what?
Thunderstruck is pretty good.
Thunderstruck, All Too Well, Taylor Swift, where he's
Yeah.
listening to it in the car and he like turns it up and he's like crying out loud.
That part. I've not been following Taylor Swift the last like 8 years, but I didn't know it was Taylor Swift until Emily brought it up. I'm just like, so you sitting in here listening to Taylor Swift? Yeah, I'm just kind of chilling and stuff. Yeah, you're chilling. Is that what you're doing? Are you
Chilling
crying?
down under.
You're chilling.
Chilling down.
And he's like, it's what the
No, the
Aussies-
witty. I do like the witty banter between Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling. As in our Ocean's 11 video, I'm a fucking sucker for good, crisp dialogue, and that was some good, crisp dialogue. I have to say. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it. It was good and
think it's
crisp
fun.
dialogue.
I think
It's
it's
good.
fun. It's good. It's fun.
The public just beat down of Emily Blunt to Ryan Gosling while they're outside. And he's like, does people on an alien planet ever have private conversations? No.
No, they don't.
Okay. I'm going to open it up to the group. I felt the same way when I found out that I loved my wife's sister. Okay, enough of that.
Yeah, it is in that, like, again, I feel like this
Goddamn.
movie started off not knowing what it wanted to be, and there is a part of me that's like, we could have just had a fun movie where it's just them dicking around trying to make this movie happen, and it's more so about the relationship while stunts are happening in the background. So if somebody wants to make that movie and call it
Stuntman 2.
The Falling Guy,
Well, because this is based on like a TV show, yeah?
yeah, I think in that way, I don't know, it feels
Yeah.
like somebody wrote a movie and then somebody's like, oh, it's just like that show from the 80s. And then they're like,
Because in the TV show, he's like a stuntman who's also like a bounty hunter on the side. So like they had to have
something
some.
like that.
Yeah,
Didn't know
yeah.
that about that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
And the Fall Guy was played by
Alan
Lee
McGinnis.
Frank,
Lee Majors,
also the $6 bajillion guy.
the $6 million guy.
The Bionic
The
Woman.
$6 million guy is now just a guy who owns his own house.
The
He
the
wasn't
$6
Scrooge.
feller.
The $6 swaller.
He's in Ash versus the Evil Dead.
Ben 10 Race Against
So
Time.
good.
So good. That's the live action one.
Yeah, we gotta watch
that.
We gotta watch that at some point
Wait,
because I'm sure it holds up.
I want to see what he looks like as Grampy Max.
I mean, he looks like Lee Majors in a Hawaiian shirt.
Let's fucking go.
Dude, he's in G.I. Joe Renegades. Oh, he's in Grey's Anatomy. You might know him, Joe.
Shut the fuck
He's
up.
in Big
Clyde.
Fat Liar.
He's in Guy's Grocery Games.
Let's
2022.
name every other movie he's in.
Oh,
Anyways, back to this.
Actually,
I don't know what else is he in.
I think I found the actor who looks the most like
He's in
Trace.
The Norseman.
It's Graham Phillips from Ben 10 Race Against Time.
Honestly, I'll take that. I'm looking at some recent pictures, and he's pretty hot. So,
No, you look specifically like 2007 version of him.
like right now. I do.
Yeah, you currently.
You, as a 27-year-old man, look like a toddler.
Damn, Trace really just said he's like 35. Isn't that crazy?
Pretty much. I might as well be. I'm gonna die within the next 3 years. I'm not making it to 30.
That's crazy. That's insane, Trace.
Dude, you're so silly.
Jobe, what was your favorite stunt from this movie that you saw?
I liked the truck jumping. I feel like,
The big one?
yeah, because
200
or that one. Oh, I also really liked the fight scene, but like also some of the guys are riding on dirt bikes for some reason.
The Mad
Yeah,
Max dirt bike?
It's like that part's weird to me, but I like it because he's like, stuntmen, go, and it's like it looks like
Yeah.
it's about to be a big war brawl like in the movie, but that it's only him beating the shit out of the bodyguard,
There's a couple other
and then
fights
everybody else
going
is
on
like,
in the back. There's a couple other fights in the background.
Oh, I didn't
but
see
like
that.
when he hooks the wire on the
That's
guy,
good.
and then the spin immediately afterwards, like, oh god, that man was spun.
that guy
I
broke his
just
back.
like it when movies say, "Fuck it, let's make it a spectacle."
Right?
Yeah, let's put all of our budget right here.
Yeah,
I feel like Emily Blunt holds her own pretty well doing fights in this with the beat up of Ryan Gosling in the character suit, plus the fight with the like random gooner outside after Gail takes the evidence or whatever, with the
Yeah.
dog, and she's like, no, this design's really starting to grow on me.
I wish Gail in this movie was played by Megan Mullally,
Okay.
aka the actor for Gail and Bob's Burgers.
I hate Gail
Oh,
from
that's
Bob's
good.
Burgers. I have
Why?
to be 100% with you. I just
Why?
hate the character.
I think, but you hate Linda too, don't you? You're like the #1 Linda hater.
She's my least favorite of the Bob's Burgers bunch.
Why?
What did we feel about? They had a couple like
We're just trying to
long
move past that as
long
fast as
one
possible.
take. Not I don't know, one take, one shot.
The oneer?
deals, especially at the beginning when he's going through like leaving his RV, going to the next thing, talking to all the people, and then Emily Blunt plus the Ryan Gosling one where they kind of go back and forth with right before the big car stunt. You know what I'm talking about?
The 8 flip,
8.5.
8.5.
What did you feel about those? I feel like it's one of those things where it's like, hey, it's good to have. It's not like you need to have a oneer, but because it's there, it's always just kind of fun to see. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was good.
That's it. That's all we get.
Yeah. Sorry, I was focusing on the title and realizing that they only really bring up the term Fall Guy like maybe twice, and it's in the beginnings.
I mean,
How many times do they need to say, "What are we, some kind of fall guy"?
No, but like they're naming the movie after like the biggest traumatic incident he's had in his life, and the only time they reference in that fashion is in the beginning where he's a
God,
valet.
I
He's
wish
like,
more of this movie
"Hey,
were people
that's the
bullying
fall
him for
guy."
this accident.
No, but like, what does it not make sense? Like Aaron, like
how
I
many
thought it
people
was.
realistically would know about that though?
I thought Fall
Everybody in
Guy
the
was more of
movie.
a Fall Guy is more of a term
fine,
of like.
but not everyone in this movie worked in
no,
that
but like
movie.
they're calling him the Fall Guy because he had an accident while falling.
They
and-
called him the fall guy because he was taking the fall for the
no, but that's what they do later. That's the double entendre.
I thought they
do
just
it
tell
twice.
them. I thought it was like a stuntmen are called Fall Guys because they take the fall for the actor in movies usually because
That
they're
I
not the
don't-
ones getting.
That I don't know. That's not
You're
how I took
smoking
it.
crack.
But,
No, am I
but
wrong?
the guy in the
I don't
beginning
know.
calls him the Fall Guy because he fucked up on a fall and he's
the
making
guy
fun
in
of
the
him.
beginning calls him the fall guy because he was wearing his autumn colors.
That's stupid, and you're dumb.
No, but that scene is hilarious when when Colt comes in,
My
drifting
bad.
the car around after he sees it, and he's like, "Oh yeah," gives it the Fast and Furious drift through
No,
the parking lot and stuff. And then
God
the
damn it, Marshall! Stop.
the
making-
guys and then the other Mexican valets just like
That was pretty good. I wish we could have seen more of the valet crew. They should have joined him and also worked on the
Like,
movie.
all right, guys, I'm putting together a team.
I'm putting together a
That would have been
team.
awesome.
Like, let's go.
I think overall, Emily Blunt, pretty sexy.
I was gonna call her something respectable, like cute and or pretty, but sure.
Or like, I don't know. I can't say that. Okay.
Okay, the karaoke scene really quick, where the VFX person is just like, "Hey, is Nigel kind of hot?" And Emily Blunt's like,
Clearly not into him. Was like, yeah,
"Yeah, go for it." She's like,
Go
"Oh my
get
god,
that.
is Nigel kind of?"
You know what? That's why we love Emily Blunt. That's not the guy that she would go for, but she is totally willing to have her friend be happy. She doesn't care. She's like, yes, 100%, go for that. I saw that you'd sent me a message.
You guys suck. Being left out here.
Well, because I was going to send it to our group chat, but then I realized that you'd yell at me and potentially.
I'm gonna yell at you now.
as
What the
well.
hell, Job?
You don't even know what I said.
Joe.
All right, what do we feel
I
about
got a
the
message.
flashback sequences between Emily Blunt and Ryan Gosling? I think they're
You can probably say that one, Trace.
Mine I can say, yeah.
Yeah.
I just think they're quite cute, you know. They're like playing with like headbands or fake knives or bottles. I'm like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah. I
Sure.
mean, if you like that kind of romancy thing.
The other one, there's the one where there's the fake gun and they shoot Ryan Gosling. And he like fakes getting shot. And
Yeah,
falls
that's
down.
good because he's
That
got
was
the
pretty
he's
good.
got the training for it. See, that's where we see his training come into play.
And then the guy's like, "We got him." He just takes off running. And I'm like, that's so funny.
But okay, but there's such a perfect opportunity that I thought he was going to go for, where he's like, "All right, we got him, done, case closed. He is dead." Then we knock the guy out or kill him or whatever, so he can't say that he's still
Well,
alive.
they would probably
it's
want to
like-
hide the body.
I guess so.
My thing that I laughed at was when they were like trying to figure out, it's we need to get Aaron Taylor Joy to confess his crimes against humanity.
That's good.
And then they're like, what do we do? He's like, all right, we make him do his own stunts. We surround him, and then we beat the shit out of him.
The running gag, like,
Like,
all right,
no.
we'll get him. You know what we need to do? We need to beat the shit out of him. No, we
He's
need
like,
to get him
wait,
convinced.
He's on the helicopter.
Right.
I'll hop on the helicopter and beat the shit out of him.
Just get the confession. Just go for the box. I'm gonna beat the shit.
I think I like to believe that Colt Seavers was still about to beat the shit out of him, but then he heard him say, "He's the best damn stuntman I've ever had," and he just kind of went, "All right, I'll let you have this one."
That one hit me like really hard, and it feels like, he won't even shoot
The
him.
tiniest bit of redemption, and then at the end, immediately turning back into an asshole.
It's weird, though, that he's like, yeah, I won't kill him, even though he tried to kill him earlier.
Yeah.
But maybe he's like
He wasn't gonna do it,
understanding it.
though.
I don't know. But also, Joe, you were talking about like when they're trying to get him to like confess, and they're in the car. I, Colt Seavers, and you. What's his full name?
Tom Ryder.
Tom Ryder. That's your name.
Hardly even know.
Why
her.
are we here? Why would you want to kill me? And he's like, fine, I could.
Why are you talking like this?
Are you wearing a fucking wire? That's entrapment. No, dude, you're wearing. Oh, they brought that foreshadowing up earlier too, with him not knowing he's always mic'd. It's not really like
Yeah,
super foreshadowing, but like
Because
they
it
did
happens
mention
like 2
earlier.
seconds before.
This is what I'd look like with no eyebrows.
That's crazy.
Well, that's
dog,
haunting.
crazy.
I actually don't like that. Pull your hat up. That sucks.
Okay, something for me that did feel a
This
little
is
weird
wild.
was when Ryan Gosling's driving the boat and he calls Emily Blunt and he's just giving like a heart-to-heart thing instead of being like, hey,
Okay.
here's the drama, like here's the tea of what's happening, rather than I love you, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. And I'm like, hey, you could also mention, by the way, I might fake my death. I'm not dead. Aaron Taylor Johnson's the one who did this.
Her phone might be
Crazy.
tapped.
Also, quick fun fact: the stuntman
I wouldn't
that
guess.
Aaron Taylor Johnson kills in the movie. No, this is important. Pay attention. The stuntman that Aaron Taylor Johnson kills is Ryan Gosling's stuntman in the real world.
They
So-
Sorry,
killed
say it
his
again. I
real-life
wasn't paying
stuntman?
attention.
The Henry, the stuntman who was killed.
Yeah.
He's actually Ryan Gosling's stuntman. For,
Oh,
like,
they
all
gave
the
him an
movies.
acting role.
Cool.
That's
That's
fun.
kinda-
I
I
have
mean,
a
that's
fun
fun.
fact about a stunt person, but
Oh,
it's
let's hear
kind
it.
of unrelated. So, do either of you know Zoe Bell?
Not personally.
She was Uma Thurman's stunt double for
Hell
Kill
yeah.
Bill.
Okay.
Then Quentin Tarantino was like, you know what? I'm going to cast you as the actor in my movie. And so she was in Death Proof, and they had a scene where she's strapped to the hood of a car or something like that. And they did the whole scene. And then she's like, oh, that was great. I fucking nailed it. And then Quentin Tarantino was like, nah, we didn't get your face in any of the shots. You're not the
Not
stunt
used
woman,
to
you're
it.
the actor. Yeah, basically. I don't know. I thought it was funny, but
What was,
we're going to have to cut it out.
No, it's good. It's good. What was the movie that, like, when we were growing up? Was it a Harry Potter movie? There was like a horrible accident where they
Yeah, it was
broke
Harry
their
Potter.
back.
They had a documentary come out recently about the guy who like shattered his back.
That's like most of what I was thinking of when this movie, like in the beginning of this movie, when it was nice and slow. I was like,
Yeah.
This
Is
is
it
the, this is the
only-
Harry Potter guy.
It was because in the Harry Potter one, the guy had like a wire pull.
Yes.
It's I believe it was the third one where Snape's supposed to go through the wall, you know, but the pull was too hard on him, so he just
Yeah.
like snapped his back in half or something like that. And that was like kind of similar to what I was thinking, like, oh, while they're doing his like drop down, it was like, is he just gonna like shatter his back or some shit like that?
Didn't Isla Fisher almost drown doing
Nicely
Nexini?
Yes.
2? What?
No, it
That was
one.
the first. She wasn't
That was
into because she almost drowned in one. She was
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
"Fuck this."
And I
Yeah.
would have too.
And that was like, isn't that what they had like the shot, like the shot they used in the movie was her like
Yeah.
help, I'm
Actually
dying. And everyone's like,
drowning.
oh look, she's faking really good.
Haha! She's such a good actor.
Well, it's just like in the bit, like in
Now
the movie,
finish the
she's
rest of the
supposed to be
movie.
like faking that she's about to die, you know?
That's funny. It's like I'm gonna give Trace some cyanide and be like, "Well, for this scene, we need you to look like you're actually dying from cyanide poisoning."
Like I would tell you if I was dying. Also, it was Harry Potter stunt double, and he looks nothing like Harry Potter.
Well,
Or
that's I mean, they
Daniel
have to
Pull
Radcliffe.
up
like
the image,
somewhat
share it
close.
in
They
chat.
don't look close.
I mean, not real. I mean, they just have to like, I don't know what to tell you, man. They're not getting their
Why?
face.
What
They
do
just
you-
have
what
to
do
have
you- wait.
somewhat right proportions.
I want them to do
He wants-
better,
Harry Potter, and then for them to clone Daniel Radcliffe and have him be the stunt.
but like a little smaller.
Marshall, why are you falling in reverse?
That's good.
Because that's what Cold Series did at the beginning. But also, isn't it a band?
Yeah.
I might lose my mind.
No, I said that when you first got here, and then nobody ever mentioned anything about it, so I just kind of let
That's
it go.
because
Jobe just did.
Well, no, but I said nice
we
band.
didn't acknowledge Trace the way he wanted to
Right,
be.
right, and that's kind of why I'm pissed off. But I'll get over
That's
it.
and that's why he's tonight's biggest loser.
Womp, womp.
I'm fat.
Really quick
God.
before we start to wrap this up, between the two of you, is there anything that we haven't talked about that you really want to touch on, whether you liked it or not, of the movie?
We haven't talked about my favorite part of the movie in particular, which is part of the dog scene where he's like, "You're doing so good. I'm gonna buy you a drink after this, I swear." And then he buys him a drink, but it's like a little water cup. And I thought that was really fun.
He's like, finish it up.
I'm like, that's so irresponsible. You cannot give the dog alcohol. Then he's like, can I get one of these? Then can I also get a water cup?
There's a scene we haven't
Dogs
talked about that I
have
really
soda.
liked. It's when Colt was like coming out, like leaving the water, all drenched after doing the jump
So
or whatever.
hot.
With the "All of It Was Made for Loving You" in the background as well. It was just like, oh yeah, that's good. I'm sitting there like, yes. Joe, is there anything we haven't talked about yet that you want to talk about?
I really never got into the Warrior Cats series.
That's crazy.
That's
'cause
true.
That
That's
means
true.
only a third of us didn't.
That's true.
I'll let you do the math, viewer. Wink, wink, wink.
Who do you think read those books through to the entirety of the Firestar genre era? Sorry.
So overall, I will say despite my gripes with like the writing, I feel like I am willing to give some leeway to that if a movie is doing something cool that I like. And I do like that the movie is also a showcase for stunts and all that. So despite a rocky beginning, I think this movie deserves my first ever 8 out of 10.
Ever.
don't
You
think- I
gave
don't know if
a
that's
man from
necessarily
Earth
true.
an 8 out of 10.
That's entirely true. And also Memento and Tombstone
Yeah, like I said,
and Rango.
along with Joe, what's he saying? You
And
know,
Eight
it's
Crazy
a
Freaky
showcase
Nights.
for stunts. It's a great time. Soundtrack's fun. They're really tongue in cheek in how this movie is going down because it's like a reflection on Hollywood as a whole. Blah 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 blah. Evil movie exec, the young, not the young man, but the lower
man.
person on the totem pole being the good guy. I'm gonna end up giving this movie
Point. Say that. Nice, good.
7,
Cash
9.
out.
Trace,
I thought the movie was very fun and interesting, and
really
I had
was fun.
I had a good time, and it's gonna lose a point because Marshall's being mean to me. There is a part that I don't like, and it's when they tase Ryan Gosling and Stephanie, who plays the assistant, and she gets pretty much knocked out immediately, but he's kind of on the ground like, ooh, that hurts. And it just kind of like is illustrating to us that women are inherently weaker than men, and I think that's fucked up. So, they could have done a little bit better, but it's fine.
Okay.
But for all intents and purposes, I'm gonna give this movie a 7.78778788887.
Fantastic.
What would we do without computers to tabulate?
Well, next
Thank
week
God.
it is a Trace pick. We're watching Scary Movie.
Yay!
Scary Movie alert. We're not watching the movie Scary Movie. We're watching
No.
a scary movie called Daddy's head. It looks scary. I might be yelling at Trace if this scares me too much and I have nightmares.
Madison's gonna yell at me if you have nightmares.
We would like to thank you, the viewer, for watching and being here with us today. And we hope that I at least fixed my Wi-Fi issues, I believe. So I should be sounding better with a lot less delay. That's just one of the many improvements that we are doing behind the scenes to help you have a good time as the viewer. You can find
Where
us
could they find us?
at Film Pod. I'm just gonna mute you guys.
You have to at
On
least let one go
Instagram,
through. It's a bit. It's
TikTok,
funny when you
and
get find us
YouTube. We had a great time, and we'll see you here
on the green.
So you're gonna kill the
I'm
president?
sweating a little bit.
Bye bye. We'll say bye.
Bye.